is first-time home buyers or people just getting out of the market that have a decent 401k, but because they're 30% down. I mean, am I missed? Is it just
Well,
people just don't know about it?
If I were a first-time home buyer, I wouldn't be able to live in my own property.
Right.
Because I would be a disqualified party, so I couldn't use my
that's
retirement
right.
money.
Okay.
It sounds great.
That's
Now,
right.
in the long term, and when I will address, I will say this, in the long-term perspective of things, the scenario which I think works perfectly there is buying a retirement property where you know you want to retire. So buy it, rent it out, do whatever you have, but it's with your IRA money. Now when you reach retirement age, you start cashing out that IRA, now you go live in it.
The other thing, though, I mean, one potential downside of this for people that aren't real estate investors is that if you invest in real estate, the depreciating the property is a massive tax advantage, and you have this inflation protection from owning a hard good, and so you can get that with your cash that's non-tax sheltered. So if I had $100,000 sitting in my checking account and I had $100,000 sitting in my IRA, and I wanted to buy a $100,000 property, I'm a fool to reach into my IRA when there's cash sitting there, because I can create tax advantage with this cash money that already exists over here.
And you can't appreciate the property if you use your IRA money.
Well, you can, but there's no advantage to it because it's already tax sheltered money. So
no reason to do all the accounting for it, isn't there?
yeah, and so it ends up being that I think the reason that this is relatively unknown is because you have to be in a pretty special set of circumstances for this to be really great for you. And if you're not in those circumstances, it's not really worth considering. And the reason that we're here is because we may fall.
Maybe getting started.
Well,
I mean, people that aren't buying investment just for the shelter, I mean, it would be.
Well, even in the sense of, I heard one gentleman who just had an enormous amount of money, and I tried to explain to him the tax benefits and all of this and using your IRA, and because of his net worth, he didn't see the benefit in it at all. Because he has just so much money that, so what? You're going to save me a couple bucks here, but I'm making millions on this, and it doesn't really, that wasn't his thing. But for the majority of people, if I had, and what's your name, sir? I'm sorry. Casey. Casey, if I had $100,000 cash, and I had $100,000 in my retirement account, why not invest with both? You can, I would try to leverage, I mean, my goal would be to leverage as much as I can. So I don't want to buy a property for $100,000 outright, but use my $100,000 cash, leverage it, maybe buy 2 or 3 properties, and then go out and get IRA mortgages for the rest, for the $100,000 that's sitting in my IRA. And then, yeah, you can start depreciating some of that because now you've got an IRA mortgage. So there's a loan against part of that.
And the other issue is if you only had $10,000 in your IRA, and you were able to, and it was a after tax, and you were able to do something during the year and make it $1 million, that's all tax-free.
Right.
That's a huge savings.
Yeah, that leads me into a whole other, let me finish the slideshow because that excites me. I love talking about that because of how you can offset some of those tax consequences in using it, even if you have cash. There are certain ways. Okay, let me get through the rest of this. So the IRA LLC, we create the IRA LLC for you. We looked at the recouping your stock market losses through the property example I mentioned. Having a tenant in place adds value to your retirement account without you having to make personal contributions. A flexible payment plan setup is something that we put together for Dan's group for the Santa Barbara REIA. And I'll show you, when we get to the price list, I'll show you how that works, the payment plan options. And then having the IRA LLC checkbook control will save you thousands of dollars every year. Here's a list of our services that are included for our one-time setup fee. Okay. Helping you to roll it over. Casey, I think, was touching on a couple of these points. Creating your IRA LLC. One of the key components here is the IRS-approved operating agreement, because it does need to be IRS compliant. And we ensure that it is, that all of our products are before they go out the door. Your meeting minutes, we do the meeting minutes, you set up, they come in your corporate kit, your stock certificate, your seal, federal tax ID number, all that stuff, as well as ongoing customer support that you'll receive from us if you have questions after the process is done. What the self-directed custodians cannot do, and they will tell you if you ask them, they are not allowed to recommend services or vendors. If I have clients that come to me and they're looking to purchase tax liens or get involved in that, I can easily say, even if Dan is far away, he's on the web. He's on YouTube. Check out some of his videos. I can refer my clients to Dan and to the Santa Barbara SBREIA. I can do that. Self-directed custodians cannot. They are not allowed. So it's another benefit. When you sign up with us, you become a client. Anything that we have webinars and you see something on our site and go, oh, that sounds great. I want to check that out. Or if we have vendors that are in whatever areas, specific areas that might be something you're looking at. And so the more we network and the more we meet people, and I meet people like Dan who has this wealth of mortgage brokers and all these other different valuable entities that we can sort of turn to. Well then, when I have clients calling me up saying, well, I'm looking for stuff out of state and I know that you're invested in a couple of different places out of state. Oh, okay, here's someone you can speak with. And so we can make recommendations, whereas other custodians cannot.
Because you're not really a
We're not a
custodian.
custodian.
Right.
So it's great. Okay, so normally our one-time setup fee is $3,500. You find us on the internet, you give me a call, I'm going to quote you $3,500. Okay, because of today's workshop, the seminar, the Santa Barbara REIA Club will get the reduced rate. You're not going to pay $3,500, and you also have a payment plan option that we put together. The reduced rate is $2,695, so that's over $800 in savings right off the bat. And then, if you like, you can pay $295 down, and then have the balance paid by your retirement account, and that's not a taxable event either. So $2,695 as a one-time setup fee, or just pay $295 and then have the balance paid by your retirement account when it's rolled over, and there's no tax due at that point.
So in your experience, people that wanted to get into a traditional type of mortgage,
Okay.
30-year fixed mortgage for an investment property,
Okay?
do lenders do that? What do the terms and rates look like? What's that?
For an IRA mortgage, it's very specific on who will do that. And I'm not sure, did you catch the whole presentation when I went over the requirements for an IRA mortgage? Okay, so the thing about the rate, it varies. Everything is based on each property because it's looked at on a deal-by-deal, case-by-case basis. But what I found is, bless you, across the board, generally speaking, it's usually the loan will be about a point over market.
Market for
Roughly.
You get 30-year fixed?
They can do that as well. Yeah.
And that would be against the property.
Yes.
Against the business.
Yes.
So like the fact that I'm self-employed wouldn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all. They're going to look at the property, they're going to look at your retirement statement. And they want to see how much you have in there, how much is the property worth, is it cash flowing, they'll review all of that. And I have an educational breakdown, sort of like a cheat sheet that you guys were asking for with the banks. I have one for the IRA mortgages that I can definitely send you. Once I get your email, I can send that out to you. I can send it to Dan if you want to send it to the whole group, but it sort of breaks down. They're looking for property address and a couple of the specifics of what the lenders will look for. Yes?
So you know lenders who will do 30% down?
Yes. In most states. In most states. It still is a little touch and go with Nevada, Vegas. A lot of people are still real hesitant there, but in most states, yes, 30% down. Yeah. Okay, so my information is here. Thank you for your attention throughout the slide presentation. And at this time, I definitely would like to go ahead and get these forms collected. So if you've completed these, I'll go ahead and take just a quick moment to come around and collect these. And then any other questions you have, Dan, until you tell me to be quiet and go sit down, questions and answers?
We're not going to do that.
Thank you.
Hey, Dan, obviously I know that the initial investment,
Thank you, sir.
custodians would be secured by the property, but what was it you said, and they take a promissory note? What was that?
Oh, okay. So that's something a little different. Okay. So, are we still taking? Here we go.
Yes.
All right. Many of the specific types of questions, like what's your name?
Karen.
Karen. Okay. So Karen is asking about I made a comment about promissory notes. And usually this is the kind of stuff that when it gets really specific like this, and I have people that have specific types of investments they're looking to do, I save this for our consultation so that I can address each person on a one-by-one, case-by-case basis, and I'm not boring the entire group. What I will say about the promissory note is, one example I like to use in a sense of offsetting some of your tax consequences. If I have And it has to be structured properly, but if there's cash sitting around, if I have